Don't shoot me! Please don't shoot me! Let's route out, guys. Let's route victims out.
Is my husband alive? Is my husband alive?
I know you want daddy. I know you want daddy. You want daddy. Hello? Hello? Is this Christopher? No, Christopher's dead.
Hello and welcome back. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. In today's episode, we're diving into the heroic story of Christopher Neal, a Navy veteran, devoted husband, and father of two, who faced an unthinkable nightmare when a crazy intruder stormed into his home one cold December night. Could Christopher protect his family and make it out alive? Who was this crazy man? Did he hold a grudge against Chris? To answer these questions, let's get started. Christopher Ryan Lee Neal was born on April 28, 1997, in Kaufman, Texas, to his loving parents, Dan and Deborah Neal. As a child, Christopher was known for his kindness and fierce protective instincts, traits that would follow him into adulthood. After graduating from Ford High School, Christopher made a bold decision to enlist in the U.S. Navy and became an aviation electronics technician. While stationed in Pensacola, Florida, he met Haley Coe, a fellow Navy recruit. Their connection was instant and powerful. They got married, began a life together, and soon after welcomed their first child in 2017, a beautiful baby girl named Charlotte. In 2019, Christopher and Haley decided to leave the military after completing their service. They both earned honorable discharges and were excited to begin civilian life. Christopher was offered a promising job with Duncan Aviation in Battle Creek, Michigan. To help ease the transition, Haley's parents gifted them a renovation project, her grandmother's old house in Kalamazoo County, Michigan. Christopher and Haley eagerly transformed the house into their dream home, preparing for the arrival of their second child, due in a few months. By November 17, 2019, the renovations were complete, and the family moved in, filled with hope for the future. With a toddler running around and another baby on the way, life felt perfect. But none of them knew that just 2 weeks later, their world would be violently torn apart. On the evening of December 1, 2019, Christopher and Haley were enjoying a quiet night at home. After a long day of unpacking and setting up their new space, Haley tucked 2-year-old Charlotte into bed, giving her a kiss goodnight. She then joined Christopher in the living room, where they decided to watch a movie and unwind. The cozy atmosphere didn't last long. Around 10 p.m., a sudden, loud banging erupted from the back door. Christopher and Haley froze for a moment, exchanging confused glances. But before they had a chance to react, it was already too late. William Paul Jones, a stranger armed with 2 handguns, forced his way into their home, his eyes wild with paranoia and rage. Christopher's military instincts kicked in instantly. He shielded his wife and shouted, "Haley, take Charlotte and run upstairs, go." Haley scooped their daughter into her arms and bolted up the staircase. Meanwhile, Christopher stayed behind to confront the intruder. He led William into a downstairs bedroom, locking the door behind them and barricading it with a dresser. With trembling hands, Christopher dialed 911.
What is the location of your emergency?
Yes, there's a man in my house right now.
What is, hold on, stop for a second.
What? There's a man in my house.
I need you to get me your address first.
6300 Proctor Avenue.
Is that a house or an apartment?
House at the end of the street. Why are you in my house, bro?
Tell me when you talk to him.
She's on your speakerphone. Why are you in my house, though?
Christopher switched the call to speaker mode, ensuring that William, whose behavior was increasingly erratic and unpredictable, could hear every word between him and the 911 operator.
Sir, how many other people are in your house?
It's me, my wife, and our daughter.
How old is your daughter?
She's 2.
2? Okay.
Don't sit.
Do you have any idea who he is?
You do go? No. Here, go that way. Go that way.
No, he...
Just stay right there. Push me. Let my wife go.
Okay. I'm not gonna hunt you guys. All right? I promise. Take my hand. I'm gonna put you in go. You can go. I'm not gonna hunt you.
A tense struggle erupted between the two, with William attempting to force Christopher into another room. But Christopher resisted fiercely.
Where is William at right now?
He's standing next to me in my hallway.
Okay, are we still on speakerphone?
We still are. He's right here.
Okay. William!
Yes, ma'am.
William, okay.
Christopher.
Can Christopher and his wife and daughter step outside?
No. Yeah,
What?
I'm not. Ma'am,
What?
they're safe.
They're safe?
They're safe. They're gonna stand right here with me.
What are you doing in their house?
I told you there are shots fired.
Where were shots fired at?
Going on, Old 37, or Old Kentucky, I'm in about.
What's that?
He's like coming into Bellevue.
Stop right here with me, man.
No, I ain't going
You're
anywhere.
going there with me, man.
Bro,
Turn right now, please.
William!
Turn right now.
William!
Yes, ma'am.
What do you know? What are you trying to have them do?
He's coming in the room with me, that's it.
Why is he going in the room with you?
why are you locking that door? Don't lock that door, bro.
You all right, man. I give you my word, man. You're straight.
I get what you're saying, but you got 2 guns, bro.
You're
You
safe.
got 2 guns?
I'm trying to put crazy, man.
I'm not doing anything.
William!
Get to my house, man.
I'm sorry, man.
William, listen to me!
Why are you here in the first place?
William, can you listen to me?
Yes, ma'am.
I need you to put those guns down because I've got officers that want to help you. I have officers that want to help you and keep you safe. So I need you to put those guns down.
Who are you, man?
I'm 911. I've got help for you. I need you to put those guns down so that they can get you the help that you need.
I want police here so I can get you safe.
The police are there, William. The police are there.
No, they're not.
They are there. They're there. I've got a lot of deputies there.
Christopher stayed calm. He spoke to William with measured empathy, assuring him that he understood his state of mind. Every word was carefully chosen to keep the situation from spiraling out of control.
I'm not harming you, I promise. My word. My life just got threatened, man.
I hear you, bro.
You understand me?
I hear you.
It got threatened last night.
Okay, I get you, bro.
I'm not harming you, or your children, or your wife.
I'm going to transfer this line, so do not hang up on me, okay?
I'm not going to.
All right, just a minute for me.
At that very moment, the 911 operator swiftly transferred the call to the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office, triggering an immediate response. Deputies were dispatched to the Neals home without delay, joining forces with officers from the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety and members of the SWAT team. The situation escalated quickly as law enforcement arrived on the scene, fully aware of the danger inside. Negotiators began tense discussions with William, hoping to defuse the tension, avoid further bloodshed and secure safe release of the hostages. Meanwhile, SWAT team stood poised, ready to storm the house, fully aware that the situation could turn deadly at any moment. William answered the phone with a series of demands, including a clear warning that the police must not enter the house.
William.
Yes.
Hey, this is Joe from the Sheriff's Department. How are you, man?
Slide your back from underneath the door. Don't come through that door.
Okay. We're not going to come through the door, man, but I just want to talk to you and find out what's going on.
Don't come through that door. Slide your back underneath that door, man.
Well, I'm not even up by the door, man. I'm outside the house. Way outside the house.
Stop playing games with me, man.
What's got you all worked up today, man?
William abruptly hung up the phone, leaving the line dead. The officer immediately dialed back, trying to regain contact. Meanwhile, another team of officers stormed the house. In the tense silence, they called out, hoping for a response. Finally, Christopher's voice echoed from the hallway, giving them a momentary sense of relief.
Just put the gun down and come out. Let's talk about this, all right? My badge is out here on my chest, buddy. Well, I'm not coming through the door. I just want to talk to you. Did you hurt anyone in there? Did you hurt Chris? Okay, Chris, can you say something? Okay, are you okay? All right. What was that? My name's Joe Hudson from Kalamazoo. I am the police. I'm a public safety officer with Kalamazoo. What was that? Can I slide one of my business cards underneath the floor? Will that help?
Meanwhile, Haley quietly placed her own 911 call from the upstairs bedroom. As she whispered, loud bangs echoed from below, making it harder to stay calm and keep her voice low.
Okay, and what's going on right now?
I don't know. I'm upstairs. All I can hear is them, like, slightly talking. Do you still have him on the phone?
Yep, so we have, so I'm talking to you, and then my other call taker is talking to someone else as well.
I know you want Daddy. I know you want Daddy.
Do you know who's in the home?
No, we have no idea.
You have no idea who it is?
He's barging our back door with 2 guns.
He just barged in?
Yeah, and he has my husband locked in a room, and he won't let my husband on the outside.
We have everyone on the phone right now. We have your husband, you, and the male that's in your home as well.
I just heard a really loud noise. I think it was gunfire.
You heard a loud noise?
Yeah.
The police officers are making entry right now, so same call for me, okay?
Outside, as a team of deputies tried to re-establish communication, they dialed Christopher's phone, praying he would answer. Instead, it was William's voice that came through the line, a chilling response that sent a wave of dread through the officers.
Hello? Hello? Is this Christopher? No, Christopher's dead.
Gunfire erupted once more, echoing through the house as officers breached the downstairs bedroom where William held Christopher hostage. Chaos exploded in an instant. William unleashed a relentless barrage of bullets, the deafening cracks tearing through the air. 3 officers were struck. 1 officer was grazed along the head, 1 took a bullet to the lower leg, and 1 was hit in the left shoulder.
Stop shooting, man! Stop shooting, man! Stop shooting right now! Stop! We have officer down. Shots fired.
The remaining officers charged into the room as William made a desperate attempt to escape. He smashed a window and leapt through, but the jagged glass tore into his flesh, slowing him down. Bloodied and stumbling, he was quickly cornered by deputies stationed at the back of the house. As they restrained and arrested him, William, now terrified, begged them not to shoot.
No! Don't shoot me! Please don't shoot me!
In the living room, officers made a grim discovery. Christopher lay motionless, a gunshot wound to the back of his head. Meanwhile, a second team of deputies searched the upstairs bedroom, where they found Haley and Charlotte huddled in a corner, trembling with fear. As the officers gently escorted the young mother and her daughter to safety, Haley's voice cracked with desperation. She looked at the deputies and asked the question that hung heavily in the air.
Let's route out, guys. Let's route victims out.
Is my husband alive? Is my husband alive?
2 officers were tasked with delivering the devastating news to Haley. As the words left their lips, Haley crumbled, overcome with grief, her sobs echoing through the shattered silence of the home. Outside, whispers of Christopher's murder quickly spread through the neighborhood, casting a pall of shock and sorrow over friends and neighbors. William Paul Jones was a deeply troubled individual with a history marked by crime, addiction, and mental illness. His adult life had largely been spent behind bars for a string of felonies, including home invasion, felony assault, resisting law enforcement, and his most recent conviction, fraud. Though Battle Creek, Michigan, was his home base, William led a transient lifestyle, frequently disappearing for days or even weeks without explanation. Investigators also made contact with a woman named Carrie McMurtry, who had a brief relationship with William. Carrie and William had met in July 2019 while he was serving time for fraud. Their relationship developed over a few months, with 3 phone calls a day. Carrie described him as both soft-spoken and unstable, someone who would talk lovingly about his family one moment and spiral into paranoia the next. According to her, William had been haunted by delusions since childhood but never received adequate mental health care. This revelation caught the officers' attention. They questioned Carrie about his recent behaviors. She unfolded a bizarre series of events right after William was released from the Calhoun County Jail in Michigan on November 26, 2019. Carrie had agreed to pick him up, and they planned to spend a week together at her home in Port Huron, Michigan. At first, everything seemed fine. But just 2 days later, on November 28, William's paranoia began to surface. While they were at a Speedway gas station, William suddenly called 911, complaining of chest pains and claiming he needed somewhere to charge his phone. A second call was placed to 911 that day, not by William, but by another woman who reported his bizarre behavior inside the store. Police arrived on the scene and spoke with William, but ultimately, no further action was taken. The next evening, as they sat together in Carrie's bedroom, he suddenly said, "Would never hurt you." Then, in a disturbing twist, William asked Carrie to sit inside a closet. Unsure of what was happening, Carrie reluctantly complied. As he closed the closet door, he warned her that people were coming through the windows. Then William called 911, reporting that the house was engulfed in flames and the fire was out of control. But when the Port Huron Fire Department and deputies from the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office arrived, they found no fire, just William in a manic state. He claimed that drug dealers were stalking him and begged police to take him away. When a deputy offered to drive him to the train station, William refused, insisting that the bus station was a safer option. After this unsettling night, Carrie decided to end the relationship. Despite Carrie's detailed account, officers remained puzzled. There was still no connection between William and Christopher Neal. As the investigation progressed, disturbing new details about their suspect came to light. Friends of William revealed that he was a frequent meth user, often spiraling into violent, drug-fueled rage. A key breakthrough came when one of William's friends reached out to Carrie via Facebook. According to the friend, on December 1, 2019, the same day as the tragic events, William had been driving around with a man named Brandon Thorpe and a woman named Nicole. The trio spent the morning smoking meth before heading to Nicole's home. But what began as a drug binge quickly turned sinister. William, in a paranoid frenzy, allegedly pulled out a handgun and took both Brandon and Nicole hostage at gunpoint. For 2 terrifying hours, he kept them in the car, accusing Brandon of plotting to harm him. The standoff finally ended when Nicole's father returned home. William forced Brandon to leave the property and drive them into town. To buy time, Brandon made several random turns around the small town before heading east. They ended up on Proctor Avenue, the very road where Christopher and Haley Neal lived. With the gun still pointed at him, Brandon was ordered to stop the car. Fearful for his life, Brandon obeyed and closed his eyes. Moments later, he heard movement from the back seat. He glanced behind, just in time to see William stepping out of the car. Brandon immediately sped away, leaving William stranded on Proctor Avenue. It was here that William randomly chose the Neal home. Driven by paranoia and a need for destruction, he broke in, leading to the horrific events that followed. With this chilling account in hand, investigators were certain that William's attack on the Neals was random, a product of drug-induced paranoia and urge for violence. Armed with these revelations, the prosecution set out to build an airtight case against him. William was taken into custody and held in the county jail, awaiting his arraignment on Tuesday, December 3, 2019. He faced a staggering 19 charges, including murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, home invasion, kidnapping, felony possession of a firearm, and resisting and obstructing officers. The judge denied his bond. During the hearing, District Judge Christopher Hanick asked William if he wished to have a lawyer represent him at trial. In a shocking moment, William bluntly asked if he could just plead guilty.
If I plead guilty to all these right now, can I get 10 today so I can hurry up and go to prison for life like everybody wants, or what?
You're not going to plead today. You're pleading not guilty today.
His request was brushed aside, and William ultimately chose to retain a lawyer. He pleaded not guilty, following his lawyer's advice, who argued that William had not been in his right mind when committing the crime. The defense pushed for a series of psychological evaluations to assess whether William truly understood the gravity of the charges against him. After 2 long years of awaiting justice, William was finally deemed fit to stand trial. With the jury selected, the stage was set for the truth to come out and for the Neal family to face the man who had shattered their lives. William Paul Jones went to trial on June 13, 2022, under the watchful eye of Kalamazoo County Circuit Judge Pamela Lightvote. Both sides opened with a critical agreement: William had unlawfully entered the home of Christopher and Haley Neal. But from there, the narratives sharply diverged. Prosecutor Aubrey Koches argued that Christopher's murder was cold-blooded and premeditated. In her opening statement, she highlighted the terror the Neal family endured during the 40 minutes they were held hostage. Koches emphasized that, while Haley and Christopher were consumed with fear, unsure if they would live or die, William was using that time to make a fatal choice. In the end, William pulled the trigger, taking Christopher's life rather than allowing the family to escape. Meanwhile, defense attorney Donna Innes presented a different version of events. She claimed that William had been seeking help, driven by panic and delusions. Innes pointed to the fact that William told Christopher to call 911, suggesting that his intention was to get help, not harm anyone. William was paranoid, convinced that dangerous people were after him. When the police arrived, they failed to identify themselves properly, further fueling William's confusion. Instead of showing a badge, they slid a business card under the door, a small but critical detail that escalated William's fear and triggered irrational actions. Koches returned to the floor, this time focusing on Christopher's courage. She described how Christopher, knowing his family was in grave danger, had to stay calm under immense pressure, trying to protect them while facing a man whose intentions were unclear. Over the next 2 weeks, the jury listened to testimony from multiple witnesses. Christopher's grieving family took the stand, recounting the impact of his loss. Officer Jerry Libretto gave a chilling account of finding Haley and Charlotte hiding after the standoff.
Her legs were shaking. She had a baby.
One arm wrapped to her chest. With the other arm, she had a cell phone. She was talking to what I believe to be dispatch.
However, the most powerful moment came from Haley Neal's emotional testimony, which left the courtroom silent. Her heartbreaking account of that night, how her world was destroyed in an instant, cemented the horror the family endured at the hands of William Paul Jones.
Were you afraid as to whether or not the defendant might hear that?
Yes, I kept shushing her and shushing her, but she wouldn't stop.
What were you afraid might happen if the defendant heard you or your daughter upstairs?
That he might know what room we were in, and that, like, possibly that we could be shot through the floor or whatever, or he would come upstairs, or we could just get hurt.
In a surprising move, William Paul Jones himself asked to address the jury. His voice heavy with regret, he expressed sorrow for what had happened, calling it the worst moment of his life. But his apology came too late. On June 24, 2022, the jury returned to deliberate. It took them only 3 hours to reach a verdict. William Paul Jones was found guilty on 18 of the 19 charges against him, including the murder of Christopher Neal. A little over a month later, on July 29, 2022, William stood before the court for the final time as Kalamazoo County Judge Pamela Lightvote delivered his sentence, life in prison without the possibility of parole. In her stern and unflinching remarks, Judge Lightvote declared, "What you did on this day was pure evil. There are good people and bad people in this world, and what you did on that day was pure evil. There is no reason for you to ever get out of prison." Justice had been served, but the emotional scars from that horrific night would never heal. As the sentence was announced, Haley Neal addressed the court. "I don't believe in God, but if I did, I would hope that you reap what you sow," she fought back tears as she described the lasting trauma that haunted her daily life. "I can no longer handle simple pleasures like fireworks on the 4th of July, or any day for that matter, because the moment I hear those loud bangs, I'm back in that upstairs bedroom, hiding with my daughter, fearing for my life and my family's." The courtroom remained utterly silent as Haley revealed the unimaginable weight her 4-year-old daughter now carried. "She told me, some days, I just want to die already so I can be with Daddy." Christopher's mother, filled with rage and heartbreak, addressed William with finality, "Rot in hell. I won't pray for you ever." In the aftermath of Christopher Neal's murder, several critical issues were brought to the surface, exposing gaps in public safety and mental health systems. One of the most prominent concerns was the immense danger faced by law enforcement officers during high-stakes situations. The hostage crisis at the Neal home saw a total of 23 gunshots fired, all coming from one suspect, William Paul Jones. Remarkably, none of the police officers returned fire, despite having the suspect in their sights. Their restraint, driven by the fear of harming the innocent victims, was highly commended but also underscored the immense personal risk officers face. Another troubling issue that emerged was the untreated mental illness of William Paul Jones. His erratic behavior, paranoia, and delusional thoughts, clear signs of mental health deterioration, had been apparent for years. However, the justice system failed to intervene effectively. Despite spending most of his adult life cycling in and out of jail, William never had any formal psychological evaluation. St. Clair County Undersheriff Matt Paulus responded to these concerns, explaining the limitations officers face when dealing with individuals who are mentally unstable. According to Paulus, in order to take someone into custody for mental health reasons, they must be deemed an immediate threat to themselves or others, or be in the process of committing a crime. If these conditions aren't met, deputies have no legal authority to detain someone or force them to seek help. Instead, officers can only offer assistance by connecting individuals with local mental health resources. Whether William had ever accepted help from police remains a mystery, but many following the case were left wondering if more could have been done to intervene before his delusions escalated into deadly violence. For Haley, December 1, 2019, was the night her entire world shattered. In 2020, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy, whom she named after his father, a bittersweet reminder of the man she lost. Haley's father, Jacko, remembers Christopher as a true hero. He believes Christopher's love for his family and his willingness to sacrifice was both profoundly admirable and tragically heartbreaking. Christopher's death was a tragic end to an unimaginable event. But could it be prevented? Was there a chance for someone to intervene and help William before it was too late? Or had William already shut the door on that possibility? Most chilling of all, had he already decided to kill Christopher the moment he crossed the threshold into their home? Feel free to share in the comments. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, let us know. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.